Namaskaram and good afternoon. My name is Arun Narayan. Welcome to Language Equals, an event in which 13 chapters of Intach from around the country have come together to commemorate the spirit of this important event, International Mother Language Day. At Intach, this is a very important commemoration for us because as a body, we are committed to ideals of multiculturalism, multilingualism, and the principle that the heritage of everybody is as important as everybody else's. The format of the event is very simple. You might have seen it in the poster that brought you here. 13 chapters, each of them will recite a short piece of poetry in their own language. But before that, I think we should take a minute to recall the history of International Mother Language Day. Most of you would be aware of it, but I think it's good to remember. It is observed every year on this day, on February 21st. The origins of this event are in the very painful events that took place in the 1940s in what then used to be called East Pakistan, which today is Bangladesh. A series of repressive measures were implemented by the Pakistani government to enforce Urdu as its sole national language, disregarding the fact that the majority in the country were Bangla speakers who mostly resided in Eastern Pakistan. The people of Eastern Pakistan responded with what we now call the Bengali language movement that demanded equal status for Bengali as an official language. It led to a fight in which the Bengali people had to pay an awful price. After me, my good friend Antara from the Hooghly chapter of Intach will talk about, will share the memories and the sort of still throbbing emotions linked to that movement in the Bengali psyche. It is 7 decades since those eventful events, those important events took place, but it is still a throbbing emotion in the Bengali psyche, and Antara will talk about it. So I'm not going to go into the details of its history at that level. Recognizing the significance of this event, UNESCO declared February 21st as a day to commemorate both the events in Bangladesh, but also the wider principles of recognizing the need to respect, preserve, and enable the growth of mother languages as carriers of cultural identity, pride, etc. UNESCO announced Mother Language Day in 1999. The wider UN General Assembly recognized it in 2002. So this year, we're in the 20th year of this observance. The importance of this observance to all of us in India needs, I mean, it's a matter of simple sense. We're a country with exceptional linguistic diversity. Our constitution lists 22 languages as official languages. We have some 30 plus languages that are spoken by more than 10 lakh people, more than a million people. There are over 120 languages which are spoken by more than 10,000 people. And then there are thousands of languages which are spoken by smaller numbers of people, and yet it is important for those people. So numbers is not important. It is a matter of our collective heritage. Our mother languages, regardless of how many people speak it, are important and powerful and important and a powerful part of our identities. They represent doorways to the wealth of experiences, knowledge, wisdom that our ancestors bequeathed to us. They are means by which we engage with the world with confidence and move forward. It is through our mother languages that we contribute to the rich tapestry of Indian experience. The criticality of preserving our mother language and the need to be respectful to those of others in a country of such diversity, as I said, is is just plain good sense. Today's event will start with Bangla in tribute to those momentous events that I just mentioned. It will be followed by Assamia, after that Odia, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, Kannada, Marathi, Gujarati, Punjabi, Dogri, Urdu, and will wind down to our most widely spoken language, Hindi. So that little map will give you a sense of our journey in the next hour and a bit more. So we'll start in the east and we'll wind down at Varanasi, where the Varanasi chapter will present a piece in Hindi. Each language module will have about 5 minutes, which will include a short introduction to the language and the piece that will be presented. And then either the person who introduces it or somebody else from the chapter will recite the piece of poetry. Before moving on to Antara and the Bengali module, I'd like to repeat how grateful we are as part of the Bhagat chapter and the wider group of people who have come together and in very short time to make this event happen. Thank you so much for joining us, all of you. And with that, over to you, Antara.
Thank you, Arun. I don't know whether I am visible or not. Am I visible?
Your audio needs to be unmuted, Antara.
No, it is on. I can hear you speak. Am I not? Yes, I am being heard and seen as I'm.
Try raising the volume, Antara.
I think I am being heard and seen by others because that's what I get from the chat box. Yeah. Okay. So I think
Antara, could you just try saying something?
Hello. I think there's some problem.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Intach chapter and my friend Arun for this opportunity. I would like to share my screen first and then start my presentation. Just a moment. Anybody could please tell me whether my screen is visible or not? Please.
It's visible.
Okay. Right. Okay. Namaskar. Moder gorob, moder asha, amori Bangla bhasha. This line from a 19th century Bengali composer and singer, Atul Prasad Sen, expresses our pride, our hope in our adorable language, Bangla. Since its announcement by UNESCO, as my friend Arun rightly said, on the 17th of November, 1999, Bhasha Dibosh serves to promote linguistic plurality and cultural diversity worldwide. However, if one looks back on 21st of February 1952, Bangladesh, one could witness the murder of young Bangladeshi language activists who refused to bow down to the governmental pressure to accept Urdu as their main language, while majority of them spoke in Bangla. This is an image from the protest procession which took away the lives of Abdul Salam, Abdul Barkat, Rafiquddin Ahmad, Abdul Jabbar, and Shafiqur Rahman, while injuring many. These people, they sacrificed against the linguistic imperialism. They laid down their lives for a bhasha. Thus, this day in Bangladesh is observed as a tribute to the martyrs of the Bengali language movement. This picture is iconic for it represents the original Bhasha Shohid Minar, which is there in Bangladesh. And the streets are decorated with what we call alpona, which are very, very distinct from Rangoli. We attach tremendous amount of sacredness with these drawings, normally done in case of rituals, in case of offerings to gods. But here in the streets of Dhaka, considered as the longest and largest of paintings, they do commemorate Bhasha Dibosh by drawing on the streets and remembering the sacrifices that have been done years ago. Not only that, we have what we called as Amor Ekush Grontho Mela, or the Immortal Book Fair of the 21, also known as Ekushe Book Fair. It's a month-long celebration of Bengali language and literature by observing in the different stalls, the books, all in Bangla. Now, despite the borders, despite the divisions, West Bengal is no less in observing Bhasha Dibosh. The linguistic unity and cultural oneness is beautifully expressed in Gurudev's song Banglar Mati, though composed for a different occasion. Banglar Mati, Banglar Jol, Banglar Bayu, Banglar Fol, Purno Hok, Purno Hok, Purno Hok, He Bhagavan. Banglar Pon, Banglar Asha, Banglar Kaj, Banglar Bhasha, Shotto Hok, Shotto Hok, Shotto Hok, He Bhagavan. As you see here, images taken from a school in the district of Hooghly from Konnagar, where small children, school children, are engaged in a drawing competition. Not only this, but also this is another image taken from the house of Abanindranath Tagore, the garden house of Abanindranath Tagore in Hooghly district, in a place called Konnagar. These are certain initiatives taken by schools, colleges, universities, governmental and non-governmental organizations while commemorating the supreme sacrifices done for our language. As I'm speaking to you right now, West Bengal government is organizing this Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar Memorial Lecture this year as a mark of commemoration of the International Mother Language Day. Bhasha and Chetana Shamiti is a non-governmental initiative. This has begun since 5 today evening, and they are also, accommodating songs and dance and poems and plays in order to celebrate, or to, let us say, commemorate International Mother Language Day. This is a picture fresh from today's morning. I received this before going to my college. Paintings on the streets, not of Dhaka, but in Kolkata, very near to my college, a place called Paschim Bangla Academy, Paschim Bongo Bangla Academy, which is taken to be the seat of art and culture in Kolkata. This is where I am speaking from, Chandanagar, erstwhile French trading post, and it's right beside my house near the Ganges, where we have a Bhasha Shohid Shoruk. Not only in Hooghly, which is a district away from the metropolis, I want to emphasize that in far-flung areas of Bengal, this day is no less sacred to us than any religious day. Ekushe Uddan Park in Kolkata is perhaps the best reminder of the sacrifice. You see the image of a lady with the long braided hair symbolizing the mother tongue, holding the dead man on the lap. The murder undoubtedly is anybody's guess. But on its pedestal here, you have the immortal lines, Amar bhayer rokte rangano, 21 February, Ami ki bhulite pari, Chele hara shoto mayer ostru গড়ায় February, Ami ki bhulite pari. আমার সোনার দেশের রক্তে রাঙানো February, আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি. This originally a poem written by Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry in 1952, but was given tunes in 1969, and it is recognized as the third best Bangla song by BBC Bangla Service. I'll end my deliberation today by speaking of a particular song that beautifully sums up our Bengali identity. Ami Banglaye gan gai, Ami Banglar gan gai, Ami amar amike chirodini ei Banglaye khuje pai. আমি বাংলায় দেখি স্বপন, আমি বাংলায় বাঁধি সুর, আমি এ বাংলার মায়া ভরা পথে হেঁটেছি এতটা দূর। বাংলা আমার জীবনানন্দ, বাংলা প্রাণের সুর, আমি একবার দেখি, বারবার দেখি, দেখি বাংলার মুখ। আমি বাংলায় কথা কই, আমি বাংলার কথা কই, আমি বাংলায় হাসি, বাংলায় ভাসি, বাংলায় জেগে রই। আমি বাংলায় মাতি উল্লাসে, করি বাংলায় হাহাকার, আমি সব দেখে শুনে ক্ষেপে গিয়ে করি বাংলায় চিৎকার। বাংলা আমার দৃপ্ত স্লোগান, ক্ষিপ্ত তীর ধনুক, আমি একবার দেখি, বারবার দেখি, দেখি বাংলার মুখ। আমি বাংলায় ভালোবাসি, আমি বাংলাকে ভালোবাসি, আমি তার হাত ধরে সারা পৃথিবীর মানুষের কাছে আসি। আমার যা কিছু মহান করেছি বরণ বিনম্র শ্রদ্ধায়, মেশে 13 নদী 7 সাগরের জল, গঙ্গায় পদ্মায়। বাংলা আমার তৃষ্ণার জল, তৃপ্ত শেষ চুমুক, আমি একবার দেখি, বারবার দেখি, দেখি বাংলার মুখ। নমস্কার। Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Antara. That was so moving, and it is so reassuring to know that it is a living sort of commemoration. You know, many of the commemorations that we have become tokenisms. We just, you know, they just become meaningless over time. But it is so powerful to see that both with yourself and, you know, with everybody in Bengal, the principle that this should never happen again, that the reasons why this took place should always be kept in mind, is being repeated every year, and it is being commemorated not as a holiday, but with the right spirit. So thank you so much. That was beautiful. That was so inspirational. Thank you so much. I'd just like to point out, and this is probably an unnecessary note, but if anybody would like to make a note or make a comment, the chat box is available. Please feel free to populate it. With Bengali, we made a slight variation on the format. She took a little bit longer because of the special place Bengali has in this event. In the others, the translations will be available, the English translations will be available in the chat box, so that, you know, there is nothing to disturb the experience of seeing the presenter presenting something in their mother tongue with all the passion and with all the feeling that effortlessly comes to us when we are speaking in our own languages. Thank you once again, Antara. And now I think we'll move on to Assamia, and to talk a little bit about Assamia and to introduce a little piece. I'd like to invite Dr. Sheila Bora, who's the state convener of Intach for Assam, and herself a fine scholar. So Dr. Bora, please take this away.
Thank you. I think my video, yeah, thank you very much. Namaskar. My name is Sheila Bora, as already mentioned. I am the state convener of the Assam chapter. Today, I am very fortunate to represent my state, Assam. And of course, I will be presenting before you a beautiful song in Assamia. I am grateful to Arun, for giving us this opportunity of getting together. A little bit about the song, which the translation of which will be available. The song was composed by a great cultural icon of the state, late Rudra Borua. And this is a folk song which we are going to present to you today. The song will be sung by Diptanil Borua, who is the grandson of the cultural icon Rudra Borua, and who on his own also is a well-known singer of the state. Thank you. I move on to Diptanil.
Thank you for the lovely introduction. I hope I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes, definitely. You're audible.
All right, thank you. So the song I'm going to sing right now is called Poka Dhanor Maje Maje. So Poka Dhan is often referred to as gold dust, which is basically rice. It's not gold dust literally, but it's rice. And agriculture, like paddy fields, are the backbone of Assamese agriculture. So this song is a perfect package of the various emotions that the Assamese go through when they get the rice from the fields to the go down. So here it is. Poka dhanor maje maje khoru khoru ali o khoru khoru ali. Poka dhanor maje maje khoru khoru ali o khoru khoru ali. আলিত পরি গীত জোড়া যাক বালি মাহি খরু 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 আলি ও খরু খরু আলি পকা ধানর মাঝে মাঝে খরু খরু আলি ও খরু খরু আলি হিম সাসা বতা আহি ধান গলে সুমি দাওয়ানিয়ে হাতত কাছি খৰাই ললে তুলি ও হিম সাসা বতা আহি ধান গলে সুমি দাওয়ানিয়ে হাতত কাছি খৰাই ললে তুলি ও যাও কি না যাও খুঁজে রে পাও কি না পাও ভাবে রে যাও কি না যাও যাও কি না যাও পাও কি না পাও ভাবে রে খুরু কিয়া বাত গলে বুলি খরু খরু আলি ও খরু খরু আলি খরু খরু আলি ও খরু খরু আলি পকা ধানর মাঝে মাঝে খরু খরু আলি ও খরু খরু আলি পকা ধানর মাঝে মাঝে খরু খরু আলি ও খরু খরু আলি Thank you.
That was so beautiful, Diptanil. That was so beautiful. You know, after the gravity and the gravitas of Antara's presentation, this sort of calmed us down a little bit. And I think it's impossible for you not to get the images of, you know, a rice growing, the paddy field in Assam, and the sort of rustic activities taking place. I think it's impossible not to sort of evoke those, I mean, for you to evoke those images. So beautiful. Thank you so much for doing this. And it's so special that this is a piece that your grandfather, the great Rudra Borua, wrote and you presented for us. Thank you so much. It was
Thank you.
extremely beautiful. Thank you. From Assam, so we're going to just follow the edge of the peninsula. So after this, we come to Odisha. And to present a piece in Odisha, I request my friend Vaikunta Panigrahi, who's the convener of the Bhubaneswar chapter, to talk a little bit about the language, about the piece, and then recite it also. Over to you, Vaikunta.
Thank you, Arunji. Odia is an Eastern Indo-Aryan language directly descendant from an Udra Prakriti. which was spoken in East India over 1500 years ago, and is the primary language used in early Jain and Buddhist texts. Odia has been heavily influenced by Dravidian languages as well as Arabic, Persian, and English. Its lexicon has been enriched by borrowings from the languages as well as from languages like Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Turkish, French, Portuguese, and Sanskrit. Odia is the 6th language of the country to get classical language status after the Union Cabinet considered for putting Odia in the same league as Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. Odia is the first language from the Indo-Aryan linguistic group, and the case for making it a classical language was also premised on the fact that it has no resemblance to Hindi, Sanskrit, Bengali, and Telugu. Bhima Bhoi. Bhima Bhoi was born in a village called Jatasingha of Odisha in 1850. His family belonged to the Kandha tribe and was not that well off. His father died when he was quite young. Thus, Bhima Bhoi had to work very hard in the field and forest to meet his daily needs. He could not go to school and hence was not able to read and write. However, his utterances were being written by 4 persons by the kindness of his guru, Mohima Gosai. Stuti Chintamani is perhaps the most important poetical work of Bhima Bhoi. It is a collection of hundreds of bolis. Boli is a technical term in Odia. It means a stanza or a canto. It would be proper to call those a canto. Each boli consists of 20 stanzas of 2 lines each. Thus, Stuti Chintamani is a collection of 2000 stanzas or 4000 lines. In fact, the saint poet Bhima Bhoi, because he was the voice to protest against social injustice, religious bigotry, and caste discrimination. His faith in Mohima Dharma had to be his belief in one God, one society, and one religion. I will read only 7 cantos of 14 lines from the 27th boli of Bhima Bhoi. Sampati Vipati Mukati Durgati Bhyana Kari Chajete Papa Dukha Bhyara Ke Tumbhe Kohiba Pado Tole Paditete Bije Kari Acha Kimpano Bujucha Polai Posibi Kahi Orji Papo Bhara Koribi Posora Pado Tole Debi Thui Sarana Banchito Kandi Kandi Bhakta Gadi Goleni Sakala Doso Aparadha Kshama Kari Guru Jagrotore Pratipala Praninko Arata Dukha Pramita Dekhu Dekhu Ke Basahu Mojibana Pache Narke Padi Thau Jagata Uddhara Heu Janauchi Muje Bhakti Bhavaranje Ahe Monima Ananta Tini Brahmandare Jete Jiva Chanti Samaste Tumbha Bhagata Navalaksha Tara Surata Virata Dhruva Loko Adi Jete Samaste Tumbha Pa Dotole Asrita Thula Sunya Parijante Thula Sunya Tharu तही उपरकु देखिलहि नाई किछि अविकार ब्रह्म अनाम रूप सिंधु प्राय पूरी अछि. In fact, I would like to add only one line, that he is the poet, an Indian poet from Odisha, whose poem is inscribed on the walls of UNO halls for this, his feelings that Praninko arato dukhro pramito dekhu dekhu keva sohu mojibona pache narke padithau jagat uddhara heu, which means boundless is the anguish and misery of the living. Who can see it and tolerate? Let my soul be condemned to hell, but let the universe be redeemed. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Vaikuntha. That was so lovely. I could, I had, till we talked about this the other day, I had no idea about the existence of such a poet. And we don't know of so many figures of this nature who were modernizers, who took what used to be knowledge in a small circle to the wider country and so on. So it was so good, and clearly there are many such people whose work or whose sort of purpose was very similar in many parts of the country. And I think we're going to hear one more of whose work was very similar. So I'm so grateful that you introduced Bhima Bhoy to us, and you sung it very beautifully, sir.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I could get a sense of timelessness, a timeless landscape. This is just the way it came to me. And probably that is because he was talking of an eternal power. So it was very beautifully done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
After Udia, we move on to Telugu. To present Telugu, I'm going to request Dr. Nageshwar Swami, who is the convener of the Mehboob Nagar chapter of Intach. Sir, over to you.
Namaskaram. Andariki Matrubhasha Dinotsava Shubhakankshalu. Telugu is a Dravidian language with its script derived from the ancient Brahmi script. It is spoken by 80 million plus Telugu people, predominantly in the Telugu states of Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana, where it is also the official language. Telugu is also an official language in Yanam, a district of Puducherry, and due to historical migrations, has a linguistic minority in the states of Odisha, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Punjab, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Telugu is also a protected language in South Africa. Importantly, it is very closely related to the Kannada alphabet. In Telugu language, every word ends with a vowel. So it is also called as Ajanta Bhasha, because of which most of the songs composed in Carnatic music are in Telugu. The song being presented is on Pillala Marri, children's banyan, or Pirla Marri, saint's banyan tree, which is an 800-year-old banyan tree located in Mehboob Nagar, Telangana. The tree is spread over 4 acres, and it is a major tourist attraction located 4 kilometers from Mehboob Nagar town. The composer of the song is Sri T.V.S. Shastri, a natural poet with 40 plus works, mostly in Telugu. His major work is 1,000 songs on 1,000 names, Sahasranamas, of Sri Lalita, which he composed over a period of 24 years. The song will be sung by the poet's great-granddaughter, Tushara Nilaya, a budding and upcoming artist and singer. Over to Tushara.
A very good evening, one and all. I hope I am audible. ఏది మొదలు ఏవి తుదలు ఏమి కథలు ఆది అంతములను తెలుపక వినోదమును గూర్చువట వృక్షముకేది మొదలు ఏవి తుదలు ఏమి కథలు పుట్టుటయు గిట్టుటకే గద మరి గిట్టుటయు పుట్టుటకు గాదే పుట్టు చావులు లేని గుట్టును రట్టు చేసిడి జ్ఞాన వృక్షముకేది మొదలు ప్రకృతియే కనుదెరచినను పెకలించు నా మూలాగ్రముగను విధికృతి నడ్డగనెవరి తరమను దివ్య బోధల సల్పు వృక్షముకేది మొదలు పతనమౌ శాఖల త్యజించుచు అతులితముగను వ్యాప్తి చెందుచు అతి విచిత్రానందమును తన అతిథులకు అందించు వృక్షముకేది మొదలు సత్య దీక్షా పరుడు గాంధీ శివంకరుడగు జవహరుండు సౌందర్యోపాసకుడు రవి సనాతన ధర్మ స్వరూపులకేది మొదలు విశ్వకవి రవి జన్మదినమున విమల భావములుద్భవిల్లగ జాతి పిత గాంధీ మహాత్ముని జన్మదినమున భాష వెల్వడ జవహరుని జన్మోత్సవంబున శాంతి సందేశముల బింపగ బాపు స్మారక దినమునను సేవానికేతనమవతరించుటకేది మొదలు లభ్యమౌ సహకారముతో దేశాభ్యుదయ కృషి సాగిపోవలే సభ్యతా దేశముల వైఖరు లభ్యసించి పురోగమించుటకేది మొదలు పాలమూర్ మండలాంతర్గత బాలవట వృక్షంబు చింతను మేలుగా సేవానికేతన మీదినంబున నవతరించుటకేది మొదలు శాంతి సందేశమును పండిత జవహరుడు అందించు రీతిని శాంతి గ్రామము భావి పౌరుల శాంతి సేనగ సేయబూనుటకేది మొదలు ఏవి తుదలు ఏమి కథలు ఆది అంతములను తెలుపక వినోదమును గూర్చువట వృక్షముకేది మొదలు ఏవి తుదలు ఏమి కథలు. Thank you.
Thank you, Tushara.
Tushara, that was so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Like with Diptanil, it's so nice that a granddaughter of the composer is singing it. Very beautiful. I think this is the beauty of a forum like Intach, that we have people from so many different places. For most of us, I live in Kerala. For me, Telugu more or less begins and ends with some beats of Mangalampalli Balamurali Krishna's pieces and the film music of SP. So all of this wealth of material that we haven't heard, thank you for bringing at least a small piece of it to us. You sung it very beautifully. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nagendra Swami, for introducing Tushara to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Although we
We all
joined.
did it together, sir. It's not, I only kicked it off. So, and it's my pleasure. So I just want to make a small note. Listening to this, I feel it's a little not ideal that other people can comment, because whoever is reciting would then get the energy of people's appreciation. But then Zoom is a bit of a problematic medium and sometimes things go out of hand. So if we're doing this another time, by then we promise to sort a good way where everyone can comment in real time. But for now, please indulge us in this little shortcoming. So after Telugu, we move on to Tamil. Tamil is a classical language. Like all these other the 6 languages have been given the status of a classical language. I don't know if everyone is very sure what that means. In my language, they're still groping around once having gotten the status, what to do with it. But hopefully it will sort of lead to good things. Tamil, of course, we like the Bengalis. Tamilians are also very, very proud of their language. Mine is a language that it's not my mother tongue, but it's my grandmother tongue. It's the mother of my mother tongue. And to talk about Tamil, I'm going to request Padma to come on. Padma.
Thank you, Arun. Vanakkam to everyone from Chennai. My name is Padma Swaminathan. I'm from the Chennai chapter of Intach. Very happy to welcome Srimati Sujata Vijayaraghavan, who will be talking about Tamil and also present a few verses from Tirukkural. She is a bilingual writer, musician, and dance scholar. And she combines 3 disciplines, literature, Carnatic music, and Bharatanatyam. She's a prolific writer. Her literary works in Tamil and English include collections of short stories, poems, and a travelogue, and articles on environmental issues and arts, and also a novel in Tamil. Who better to render Tamil today than Mrs. Sujata? Welcome, Sujata. Mute yourself.
Vanakkam. That is how the Tamil greeting goes. The Tamil language, as you have seen in the slide, is one of the oldest classical languages belonging to the Dravidian group of languages of South India. It has a continuing tradition of poetry dating back to even more than 2000 years ago. And it is spoken and written today. And we can still read poetry, which is 2000 years old, and make sense and understand most of it. That is the way that language has kept itself alive. Today, I'm going to recite and sing a few couplets of one of the oldest poetry we have. It is called Tirukkural. Kural means short or stunted or small, and it is in a couplet of 1 3/4 of lines, shorter than a haiku. And that speaks of the art of living and gives advice on several counts, divided into 3 parts. The first one speaks of dharma or righteousness. The second part is about worldly affairs. And the third part is about love between a man and a woman. With 1,330 couplets divided into 133 chapters, having 10 couplets each, it has been translated in several Indian and international languages, and it is called the world scripture because whatever it says, it is common to mankind for all ages. It is only wisdom, it is very practical wisdom that he is putting in the briefest of words, with an economy of words. In fact, one of his contemporaries, he says, Kadugai Tulaittel Kadalai Puhatti Kurugat Taritta Kural. Pierce a mustard, pack it with the 7 seas. Such is the compact weave of the Kural. Why weave? Because Thiruvalluvar is supposed to have been a weaver as well as a great poet. There is a statue which has been recently installed a few years ago in the midst of the Indian Ocean, in the Cape of Comorin in South India, right in the midst of the sea, a towering statue for Tiruvalluvar. And why we worship him, or rather revere him, is for his wisdom, which he has handed down to all the generations. I would like to begin by singing 4 couplets set to music by my mother, who was a musician, and then start reading the couplets. அகர முதல எழுத்தெல்லாம் ஆதி பகவன் முதற்ற உலகு கற்றதனால் ஆய பயனென்ப வாளரின் தொழாரெனின் அன்பிற்கும் அடைக்கும் தாழ் ஆரலும் பூசல் தரும் அன்பும் அறனும் உடைத்தாயின் வாழ்க்கை பண்பும் பயனும் அது. That was in the raga Hamsadhwani in classical music. So the selections are from several chapters. Now I start reading these couplets. One of the first one is a teaser. It is about the rain, the life-sustaining rain. It goes like this. Tupparku tuppaya tuppaki tupparku tuppaya thuvum malai. I mean, it is a brain teaser, but it is very simple if you understand the meaning of 1 or 2 of those words. The next one is stress on righteousness. Manattukkan maasilanadal anettaran. Akula neera pira. The third one is about truth, where even a falsehood takes on the garb of truth when it produces a benefit free from blemish. Poimayum vaimai ilatta purai theernda nanmai payakkumenin. Wisdom, where is the wisdom? Epporul yar vai ketpinum apporul meipporul kaanpadarivu. Whatever you hear from several people, the wisdom lies in discerning the truth there. And this is acting with discretion, delegation of duty. Idanai, idanal, ivan mudikkum, endraindu, adanai, avan kan vidal. This is about the wages of sustained effort, regardless of any obstacles. Deivattan agadeninum muyarchitan meivarutta kooli tarum. Now we go on to the love portion of Tirukkural. It is about 2 lovers looking at each other. Kannodu kanninai nokkokkin vaaichorkal enna payanum ila. Words are not necessary when the looks are exchanged. And this is dismay at eventide, the coming of the evening. Kaalai arumbi pagalellam podagi maalai malarum in noi. This is something which buds in the morning, and then it buds in the morning and it grows during the day and blooms in the evening. Love for others. Anbilar ellam tamakkuriyar. Anbudayar enbum uriyar pirarku. Control of the tongue. Ya kavarayinum na kaka. Kavakal sogapar sollilukkappattu. Felicity in speech. particularly those who are serving under a king. Solal Vallan, Sorvilan, Anjan, Avanai, Igalvellal, Yarkum Aridu. One who has the gift of the gab, one who is untiring, and one who has no fear. It is impossible to overpower him. Wife to a husband who is going away. Chellamai undel enakkurai. Matrunin valvaravu valvarkurai. If you are not going, you speak about that to me. If you are talking about coming back, you can say it to whomsoever is going to be alive at that time. Thank you.
Ma'am, I had no clue that, I mean, I should have had that clue, but I had no idea that you were going to sing. And that was such a bonus. You know, there is, I don't know who said it, but there is this idea of simplicity on the other side of complexity. So simplicity lives on both sides of complexity. There is a very sort of simple-mindedness which doesn't quite understand complexity. But then when you transcend complexity, a certain simplicity is a destination you reach. So I feel many of these are pieces where that idea comes across, where, you know, they seem very simple, but within them there are so many layers of meaning. They lend themselves to multiple reads. So I wish we could have a session just on the Kural. I think it deserves a whole session, and I hope we can do that with you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for doing this for us. You're such a scholar, and I'm very grateful that you did this for Intach. And thank you, Padma, for inviting Sujata ma'am for this event. I think you must sign her in the Intach chapter, because she's such an asset to have. Even within the chapter, you could do these sessions, and it would be wonderful. So thank you so much, Padma.
Thank you very much for your kind words.
Thank you, Arun. It was a wonderful exercise for all of us, and listening to all these wonderful tunes and words on different languages is a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Whatever little efforts we put in is more than paying for itself. So in the joy, in the learning, all of that. So thank you so much. So now we move on to Malayalam, and my colleague Priya, the co-convener of our chapter, was set to sort of introduce Malayalam, but Priya has taken unwell and she's violently sick, so she has not been able. I think she's logged in, but she's in no shape to talk. So you'll have to bear with me doing double duties on this one. Malayalam, as I think I said earlier, it owes a lot. Its origins are in Tamil, but equally in Sanskrit. It also has many other influences that have sort of been overlaid on it over time. There are words from Portuguese, Arabic, etc., etc. But essentially, it's a sort of amalgam of Tamil and Sanskritam. Today we are going to present a small piece by Vallathol Narayana Menon, who is one of three modern poets who comprise a triumvirate of sorts, who we call a Kavitrayam. Kavitrayam exists in other languages also, notably in Telugu. So I think that idea traveled quite a bit. So Vallathol Narayana Menon, along with Ullur S. Parameshwara Iyer and Kumar Nashan, formed a triumvirate of poets in the modern era in Malayalam. And he was a nationalist. He was also a great activist for the revival of our folk art forms, our traditional art forms, the classical and folk art forms. And he's most remembered for setting up a great university for the performing arts called the Kerala Kalamandalam, thanks to which we are still able to enjoy forms like Kathakali, which at one point were facing very grave existential crises. So today we are going to hear a small piece that he's written about language. And it's called Enda Bhasha, My Language. And we have two young friends of our, from the chapter, Gokul and Haritha Shri. they're going to present a small piece, a small part of Ende Bhasha. Gokul, go on. So I think Gokul is facing some trouble logging in. So I think we'll move on to Kannada. And if by then Gokul is able to sort of log in, we'll come back to Malayalam. So I'm going to request Dr. Krishna Kolar of the Bijapur chapter to present Kannada. In Kannada, we also have a little bit of a surprise, a wonderful little bonus poem. I'll talk about that in a minute after my senior colleague Krishna Kolar presents a piece. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Can hear you, sir. Can hear you and see you, sir.
Thank you. Hello. I am Dr. Krishna Kolar Kulkarni, convener Bijapur Karnataka chapter, introducing Kannada language. Kannada language is one of the old language of Dravidian group of South India. Linguistic scholars say it is of more than 2000 years history. However, 4th and 5th century inscription shows existence of Kannada and its script. Further, 8th and 9th century literary works proves that earlier to that period, Kannada language was in existence and number of literary works have been produced. As on date, Kaviraja Marga of Nrupatunga or Sri Vijaya is the earliest work, and 10th century Pampa's poetical work Pampa Bharata or Vikramarjuna Vijaya and Adi Purana are the full-fledged literary works, and it is flourished till today. Kannada language has been declared as one of the classical language of India. It has bagged 8 Jnanapita awards, which is equal to Nobel of India, which no other state seems got. Kannada script is so beautiful that internationally acclaimed as one of the like a garland of pearls. You can just see it. It is so. Vachana and gained 2 contributions to world literature and Dasa literature of 16th
Sir, you're muted, sir. Can you please unmute? Thank you.
So we'll present one from Vachana of just 30 seconds and one from Dasara Kirtana of Kanakadasa, and we'll show you how beautiful Kannada language is there. Over to Vishal and my grandkid. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಎಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ. ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳೋರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕನಕದಾಸ ಕೀರ್ತನ. ಒಂದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಫಸ್ಟ್ hello. First we sing Kanda Dasara song, then only Vachana. Over to my children. Start.
ಹರಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ತುತಿಸಿ ಕೇಳುವುದು, ಏನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹರಿ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ತುತಿಸಿ ಕೇಳುವುದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು. ಒಂದು ದೇವರಿಂದ ಎಂದೆಂದು ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಒಂದು ದೇವರಿಂದ ಎನ್ನ ಕಾಡಿದವರಿಗೆ, ಒಂದು ಹೆಣ್ಣು ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಆಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಕಂದಿ ಕುಂದಿಯನ್ನ ಬಾಧೆ ಪಡಿಸಿದವರಿಗೆ, ಕಂದಿ ಕುಂದಿಯನ್ನ ಬಾಧೆ ಪಡಿಸಿದವರಿಗೆ, ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನದ ಫಲ ಬಂದು ತಟ್ಟಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನದ ಫಲ ಬಂದು ತಟ್ಟಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಏನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹರಿಗೆ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ತುತಿಸಿ ಕೇಳುವುದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು. ಹಿಂದೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೈದವರೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆಂದಾಗಿರಲಿ, ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೈಯುವರೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಳವೇರಲಿ, ಹಿಂದೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೈದವರೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆಂದಾಗಿರಲಿ, ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೈಯುವರೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಳವೇರಲಿ, ಕಣ್ಣು ಇಟ್ಟವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕುದುರೆಯ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬಾಳಲಿ, ಕುಂದು ಬಿಟ್ಟವರೆಲ್ಲ ಕುದುರೆಯ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬಾಳಲಿ, ಬಂದು ಬದ್ದವರಿಗೆ ಭತ್ತದ ಗದ್ದೆ ಬೆಳೆಯಲಿ, ಬಂದು ಬದ್ದವರಿಗೆ ಭತ್ತದ ಗದ್ದೆ ಬೆಳೆಯಲಿ. ಏನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹರಿಯೇ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ತುತಿಸಿ ಕೇಳುವುದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು. ಜನರೊಳಗೆ ಮಾನಭಂಗ ಮಾಡಿದವರಿಗೆ, ಜೇನುತುಪ್ಪ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಉಂಟಾಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಜನರೊಳಗೆ ಮಾನಭಂಗ ಮಾಡಿದವರಿಗೆ, ಜೇನುತುಪ್ಪ ಸಕ್ಕರೆ ಉಂಟಾಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಹಾನಿ ಭಾರದಂತ ಲೋಕ ಆಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಹಾನಿ ಭಾರದಂತ ಲೋಕ ಆಗಲಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಮಹಾನುಭಾವ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಕೊಡುವ ನೆಲೆಯಾದಿ ಕೇಶವ, ಮಹಾನುಭಾವ ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಕೊಡುವ ನೆಲೆಯಾದಿ ಕೇಶವ. ಏನು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹರಿಯೇ ನಿನ್ನ ಸ್ತುತಿಸಿ ಕೇಳುವುದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡು ಯಮಗಿದೊಂದೇ ದೊಡ್ಡದು.
one ವಚನ.
ನಾವು ಇವನ ಸಿಂಗವಾದ ವಚನ
ಇವನಾರು
ಇವನಾರವನೆಂದಣಿಸದಿರಯ್ಯ, ಇವನಮ್ಮವೆಂದಣಿಸಯ್ಯ. ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಯ್ಯ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯ ಮಗನೆಂದೆನಿಸಯ್ಯ ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮದೇವಯ್ಯ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯ ಮಗನೆಂದೆನಿಸಯ್ಯ. Thank you.
Over to Krishna Kolar Kulkarni.
Could you please introduce the three of them?
Hello.
Could you introduce them, please?
Hello. Srishti, Spurti, and Shravani. They are my grandchildren. Huh? Hello. You got the
It was
camera?
lovely, sir. It was very pretty.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
I think the audio was a little bit less than perfect, but you sang so well. And I'm looking at what Colonel R.D. Singh said, what Jui said. So everybody, you know, the magic of young singers, it's so beautiful. So thank you so much for enabling this.
Thank you. Shall I tell a few words about these two songs? Hello.
Could you repeat that, sir?
No, just a few words about these songs. What is that?
If you could just paste it in the chat box, because we are running a little behind. So if you could maybe paste it in the chat box, or we could share it. I mean, we know Dasara Kritigalu is, of course, well known. All of us know about them. But the first piece, I would love to know what it was.
The second is Vachana of Basavanna.
Okay.
Vachana of Basavanna of Elvan Chachari.
Oh, it's one of the Vachanas by Basavanna. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
So I think we are constrained for time. So let's probably, if you could paste it in the chat box, that would be nice.
Okay. Right.
Thank
Right.
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for bringing these wonderful people to sing for us. That was very beautiful. Thank you so much. And that magic of children singing, reciting, you know what, we're going to have a little bit more of it. As most of you know, Intach has this great program of schools outreach.
They are arranging programs for only children.
Okay. So Intach works through its Heritage Education Division. It works with many schools. And we are so fortunate today to have one school in Bangalore that sort of put their hands up to say that we'd like to present a small piece in Kannada. This is the Global Indian School, and we have Deepthi here. Deepthi, can you just raise your hand or something? Hi, Deepthi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. What are you going to present?
Sir, today I'm going to sing a song called Vishwavinutana Vidya Chetana, and it was composed by a very famous poet, Channavira Kanavi. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ದೀಪ್ತಿ ಎಸ್ ಪ್ರಸಾದ್. ನಾನು 4ನೇ ತರಗತಿ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓದುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈ ದಿನ ನಾನು ವಿಶ್ವವಿನೂತನ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚೇತನ ಎಂಬ ಹಾಡನ್ನು ಹಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ಬರೆದ ಕವಿ ಚನ್ನವೀರ ಕಣವಿ. विश्वविनूतन विद्याचेतन सर्वहृदय संस्कारी जय भारती. विश्वविनूतन विद्याचेतन सर्वहृदय संस्कारी जय भारती. करुनाड सरस्वती गुಡಿ ಗೋಪುರ ಸುರ ಶಿಲ್ಪ ಕಲಾಕೃತಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣೆ ತುಂಗೆ ಕಾವೇರಿ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಮನೋಹಾರಿ. विश्वविनूतन विद्याचेतन सर्वहृदय संस्कारी जय भारती. ಅರಿವೇ ಗುರುನುಡಿ ಜ್ಯೋತಿರ್ಲಿಂಗ ದಯವೇ ಧರ್ಮದ ಮೂಲ ತರಂಗ. ವಿಶ್ವ ಭಾರತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಾರತಿ. ವಿಶ್ವ ಭಾರತಿಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಾರತಿ. ಬೆಳಗಲಿ ಮಂಗಳ ಜಯ ಬೇರಿ ವಿಶ್ವ ವಿನೂತನ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚೇತನ ಸರ್ವಹೃದಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಿ ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ. ತ್ಯಾಗ ಭೋಗ ಸಮಯೋಗದ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳಗಲ ಮಲಕೆರೆ ಸುಂದರ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಜ್ಞಾನದ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನದ ಕಲೆಯಿಸಿರಿ ಸಾರೋದಯದ ರಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶ್ವ ವಿನೂತನ ವಿದ್ಯಾಚೇತನ ಸರ್ವಹೃದಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಿ ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ ಜಯ ಭಾರತಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
Arun, you're muted. Arun, can you please unmute yourself?
Sorry, Padma. I was, DT, I was just saying that was so beautiful and I got carried away and I forgot that I was muted. That was so beautiful. You sung it with so much charm. Do you want to say quickly what it means? Or have you not prepared for that?
I have not prepared.
You have not prepared. No problem. We sort of understand the meaning, but this was beautifully done, DP. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for your teacher who sort of helped do this for us. This was very beautiful. Thank you, DP. And I'm just seeing this very nice message from Akshita Tejwan. And I'm just going to read it out for everyone. So Akshita says, greetings to all. Wish you all a very happy International Mother Language Day. I am Akshita Tejwan of class 9 of MGT Girls School, Jaipur. I love my country, respect all my languages. My mother tongue is Sindhi. It will be my pleasure if Intach can share my Sindhi song in this meeting. So Akshita, let's wait till, let's go through a few more of these presentations. If we have the time, definitely. But thank you so much for offering. I hope we can do it. But now, after those lovely Kannada presentations, I'm going to give one more shot at getting Gokul to come and present Enda Bhasha in Malayalam. Gokul, do you have any luck coming on? Okay, here you are.
Namaskaram. സന്നികൃഷ്ടാബ്ധിതൻ ഗംഭീരശൈലിയും സഹ്യഗിരിതൻ അടിയുറപ്പും ഗോകർണക്ഷേത്രത്തിൽ നിർവൃതീകൃത്വവും ശ്രീകന്യമാലിൻ പ്രസന്നതയും ഗംഗ പോലുള്ള പേരാറ്റിൻ വിശുദ്ധിയും തെങ്ങിളം കായ്നീരിൻ മാധുര്യവും ചന്ദനീലാലവങ്കാദിവസ്തുക്കൾ തൻ നന്ദിത പ്രാണമാം പൂമണവും സംസ്കൃത ഭാഷ തൻ സ്വാഭാവികൗജസും സാക്ഷാൽ തമിഴിന്റെ സൗന്ദര്യവും ഒത്തുചേർന്നുള്ളൊരു ഭാഷയാണെൻ ഭാഷ മത്താടിക്കൊൾക്കഭിമാനമേന്നി തുടങ്ങാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുന്ന പിഞ്ചിളം ചുണ്ടിന്മേലം മിഞ്ഞ പാലോടൊപ്പം അമ്മ എന്നുള്ള രണ്ടക്ഷരമല്ലയോ സമ്മേളിച്ചിടുന്നതൊന്നാമതായി മറ്റുള്ള ഭാഷകൾ കേവലം ധാത്രിമാർ മർത്യന്നു പെറ്റമ്മ തൻ ഭാഷ താൻ മാതാവിൻ വാത്സല്യ ദുഃഖം നുകർന്നാലെ പൈതങ്ങൾ പൂർണ്ണ വളർച്ച നേടൂ അമ്മ താൻ തന്നെ പകർന്നു തരുമ്പോഴേ നമ്മൾക്കമൃതുമാമൃതായി തോന്നും. ഏതൊരു വേദവും ഏതൊരു ശാസ്ത്രവും ഏതൊരു കാവ്യവും ഏതൊരാൾക്കും ത്തിൽ പതിയേണമെങ്കിൽ സ്വഭാഷകൻ വക്രത്തിൽ നിന്നു താൻ കേൾക്ക വേണം. ത്തിൽ പതിയേണമെങ്കിൽ സ്വഭാഷകൻ വക്രത്തിൽ നിന്നു താൻ കേൾക്ക വേണം. വക്രത്തിൽ നിന്നു താൻ കേൾക്ക വേണം. വക്രത്തിൽ നിന്നു താൻ കേൾക്ക വേണം.
വളരെ ഭംഗിയായി കേട്ടോ ഹരിത. ഹരിത ഗോകുൽ വളരെ ഭംഗിയായി. I am going to be a little restrained because I don't want to seem over enthusiastic about my language, but I just feel that they did a great job. So thank you so much. After this, we move on. We are going to skip Kannada because we just did Kannada, and we are going to Marathi. And I'm going to request my good friend Supriya to make a small presentation on Marathi. Supriya, over to you.
Namaskar.
Supriya, before you start, let me just make one little clarification. You know, in all of these slides, there is a picture of a writer, but they are not necessarily the poet of whose work is being presented. They're just iconic figures who are recognized from that language. So similarly, this is not the poet of whose work Supriya will be presenting. I just wanted to clarify that. Go on, Supriya. Sorry for taking a little time.
Namaskar. I'm Supriya Mahabaleshwarkar, co-convener Intach Pune chapter. माझ्या मराठीचे काय बोलू कौतुके, परी अमृता तेही पैजा जिंके, ऐसी अक्षरे रसिके मेळवीन. In what words do I praise my language Marathi? It is sweeter than the amrit, the nectar of the gods, said Saint Gnaneshwar. I'm presenting Pasaidan, written by Saint Gnaneshwar today, who is considered to have laid down the foundation of a reform movement in Maharashtra. During those times, knowledge which was locked in Sanskrit language was not accessible to all. It was Gnaneshwar who brought this knowledge in language of the common people in Maharashtra, Marathi. His Marathi commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Bhavartha Deepika, is known as Gnaneshwari. The poetic meter, Vritta, used in Gnaneshwari is called Ovi. Again, a form which was popular in oral traditions among women. Pasaidan is a part of this. Pasaidan is a universal prayer to the all-pervading highest consciousness. The poet is asking for welfare of the entire humanity, of all beings, of all the entire universe. It wishes for removal of ignorance and darkness, and to let the world see the rise of the sun of righteousness. Through the good deeds of the righteous people, it hopes for transformation of the evil to good. आता विश्वात्मके देवे येणे वाक्यज्ञे तोषावे, तोषो निमज द्यावे पसायदान. जे खळांची व्यंकटी सांडो, तया सत्कर्मी रती वाढो. भूता परस्परे पडो, मैत्र जीवांचे दुरितांचे तिमिर जावो, विश्वस्वधर्म सूर्ये पाहो. जो जे वांछील तो ते लाहो, प्राणी जात वर्षत सकळ मंगळी. ईश्वर निष्ठांची मांदी आई, अनवरत भूमंडळी भेटतो भूता. चला कल्पतरूचे आरव, चेतना चिंतामणीचे गाव. बोलते जे अर्णव पियुषाचे, चंद्रमेजे अनांछन मार्तंड जे तापहीन. ते सर्वाही सदा सज्जन, सोय रे होतो. किंबहुना सर्व सुखी पूर्ण होनी तिही लोकी. भजिजो आदि पुरुखी अखंडित, आणि ग्रंथोपजीविये विशेषी लोकीये. दृष्टा दृष्ट विजये हुआवे जी. येथ म्हणे श्री विश्वेश्वरा, हा होईल दान पसाऊ. येणे वरे ज्ञान देऊ, सुखिया झाला, सुखिया झाला.
Supriya, what is the meaning of the word Pasaidan?
Pasa actually means your palms held together. So it's like seeking like a prasad from the ever-pervading, all-pervading highest consciousness.
Very nicely done. Unsurprisingly, you sang it so beautifully. And you know, if those of you who are listening haven't seen this very nice translation that's there in the chat box, I urge you to look at it. Jui has shared a very nice translation about the poem and the context in which it was written. So I encourage you to please read through it. But Supriya, this was so beautiful. Thank you so much. From the devout to irreverence, we're moving to Gujarati. And I'm going to request Sanjeev to sort of introduce the Gujarati piece. Sanjeev, are you here?
Yes. Yeah, many greetings from Gujarat and Baroda. I'm Sanjeev Joshi, the convener of Intach Vadodara and co-convener of Gujarat. Gujarati language originates from the family of Indo-Aryan languages, like many other old languages of the Indian subcontinent, which emerged out of Sanskrit. The language is over 1,000 years old and is spoken by more than 60 million people worldwide. With the Gujarati community spread around in diverse regions around the globe, various dialects and variants of Gujarati language have emerged over time, both in Gujarat as well as in other regions where it spread. Interestingly, in the regions of East Africa and South Africa, the language has been infused by words and terms of local languages also, like Swahili in East Africa. Various Swahili words are part of the Gujarati lingo there, which has interesting amalgamations also with generations of Gujarati speaking communities residing there. The works being presented today are of Gujarati poet Akha Bhagat here. Poet Akha Bhagat is a well-known, popular medieval Gujarati poet and literary figure of the 17th century. Exactly 1615 to 1674, those are the dates. Akha Bhagat came from a family of goldsmiths, or sonis as they are known in Gujarati, from the word sona. He lived in Jetalpur near Ahmedabad and has even been honored with a statue in the walled city. There's a beautiful sitting statue of life-size Akka Bhagat sitting there. Various squares and streets are named after Akka Bhagat across the towns and cities of Gujarat. Amongst the various literary works of poet Akka Bhagat, he's specifically known for his chappas, or his 6-stanza poems. Akhana Chappa, they are known as, are full of humorous metaphorical commentaries and satire. These are touching on spirituality, morality, values, and also day-to-day aspects of human life. Now I would like to invite my colleague and co-convener of Intach Vadodara, Tarisha Mehta, to recite a few of these remarkable chappas. Tarisha, please do the honors.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjeevji. So I will be reading chappa and I will take a pause between two chappas so you can understand that it is a shuffle. Sutar ave tyam tu rahe, જ્યમ તેમ કરીને હરીને લહે, વેશ ટેક છે આડી ગલી, પેઠો તે નવ શકે નીકળી, અખા કૃત્યનો ચડે કશાય, રખે તું કાંઈ કરવા જાય, જેહનું તું જાણે આકાશ, તે તું જાણ તારો અવકાશ, તે નોહે ખૂણે ખાંચરે, આ પ્રત્યક્ષ મુખે મુખ વાતો કરે, જેમ સંકલ્પે નદી સે દે, તેમ અખા રહ્યો છે તે. એક મૂરખને એવી ટેવ, પથ્થર દેખી પૂજે દેવ, પાણી દેખી કરે સ્નાન, તુલસી દેખી તોડે પાન, એ અખા વડું ઉત્પાણ, ઘણા પરમેશ્વર, એક ક્યાંની વાત. તિલક કરતા 53 ગયા ને જપમાળાના નાકા ગયા, તીરથ ફરી ફરીને થાક્યા ચરણ, તોય ન પહોંચ્યો હરિને શરણ. કથા સુણી સુણી ફાટ્યા કાન, તોય ન આવ્યું હરિનું જ્ઞાન. જોજો રે મોટા ના બોલ, ઉજ્જડ ખેડે બાજ્યું ડોલ, અંધ અંધ અંધારે મળ્યા, જ્યમ તલમાં ખોદરા ભળ્યા. ન થાય ઘેંસ ન થાય ઘાણી, કહે અખો એ વાત અમે જાણી. ગુરુ શિષ્ય કેરી સાંભળ જુક્તિ, સ્વાતિ બિંદુ યામે જમશુક્તિ, જે દેવ આદરે કરીને ગ્રહે, તેવું મુક્ત જામી રહે. त्यम हारवंत ने वचन ज ठरे, जो अखा सदगुरु आदरे. ज्यां जोये त्यां कूड़े कूड़, सामा सामी बैठा गुड़, को आवी वात करे सूर्यनी, ते आगळ लई चांच ज घरे. अमारे हजारों वर्ष अंधारे गया, तमे आटला डाया क्यांथी थया. अखा मोटानी तो एवी जाण, मूकी हीरो उपाड़े पहाड़. Thank you.
Risha, I think this people are having trouble opening your PDF. Do you want to give a little outline of what it was that you just, so one could guess at the meaning, but if you could give a very little.
Yeah, I can give it very shortly. I have read 7 different chappa, and each of the chappa showcase different meaning. Like first, second, and third chappa was talking, and fourth chappa, all of them were talking about what sort of rituals we should follow to get the relevance with the God. So we should not follow into the regular process in which we the regular society does it, but we should find God from our eternal Atma. And the 5th chappa was talking about pseudo scholars who are actually telling society to follow certain type of rituals, but we should not do that. We should try to find path of God from the bottom of our heart, the whatever way we want to follow. The 6th chappa was talking about relationship between teacher and a student. It is like a seashell which produces the pearl during the Swati Nakshatra, and the way the seashell accepts the water from the rain during Swati Nakshatra, the similar way, the way student grasps whatever Guru is teaching gives the certain type of result. And the last one was talking about idea and vision of the people who are having a certain type of belief from the past years, and we should accept new ideologies and new things to get a better society. That is what he's trying to talk about.
Nice, nice. So I'm curious how he was able to be so rebellious in that era, because many of them are mocking at orthodoxy, is what I could guess. So it's been interesting to know how it was possible. How did he get the sanction to do that? But maybe not in this session. But I think you sang it very beautifully. Thank you. So it's a whole world open to us. We know none of us, I think most of us at least, weren't aware of this tradition. So Sanjeev, both of you have opened up our doors a little bit. So we're all sort of stuck in our own little worlds. So opening all these other doors is great. So thank you for doing that for Gujarati. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Fantastic to be on this.
Same here, sir. Same here. So from Gujarati, we move on to Punjabi. And I think Ujjal, are you here? Ujjal.
Yes, I am here.
Ujjal of the Amritsar chapter. Ujjal, do you want to introduce the language and Dr. Sardul Singh?
Yes, please. So thank you so much, Arun.
Over to you.
Sat Sri Akal, everyone. This is Dr. Ujjal Jeet from Department of English, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. Today, I, along with my co-presenter, Dr. Sardul Singh Aujla, would present Punjabi language to you. Punjabi is an Indo-Aryan language with a feature called tonal system, which is distinctively unique for this family of languages. It is spoken in both India and Pakistan and their respective diasporic communities all over the world. It has two different writing systems. In Pakistani Punjab, it is written in a script called Shahmukhi, and in Indian Punjab, it is written in Gurmukhi script. So the word Gurmukhi implies received from the mouth of the Guru. So this is actually the reference to second Sikh Guru, Shri Guru Angad Dev Ji, who refined the current Punjabi script from number of local writing systems which were used at that time. Today, Punjabi people hold it in sacred reverence and consider learning Punjabi language as equivalent to serving their Guru. If we talk about the literature of Punjabi language, then its richest literature was written and composed during the medieval period and by none other than Sikh Gurus and the Sufi fakirs. Today, across the political and geographical boundary lines, Punjabi-speaking people share a common love for their linguistic and literary heritage, and proudly, all of them, they call themselves Punjabis. My co-presenter, Dr. Sardul Singh Aujla, who teaches Punjabi language and literature at Dips College, Kapurthala, has brought a beautiful poem to hail Ma Punjabi at this event. Dr. Aujla has 4 poetry volumes to his credit, out of which 3 are edited books, and 1 is an anthology of his own original poems. The current poem is his latest composition. It is translated into English by Dr. Sukhdev Singh, convener, Punjab chapter of Intach. And so I would request Dr. Aujla to please present his poem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ujjaljeet. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
I am going to recite my self-written poem, Maa Boli Punjabi. Maa Boli Punjabi hai dildaran di. Maa Boli Punjabi hai dildaran di. Guruਆਂ ਪੀਰਾਂ ਰਿਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਰੱਬ ਤੇ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਾਥਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰਮਾਇਆ ਏ, ਮਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਾਥਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰਮਾਇਆ ਏ, ਸ਼ਬਦ ਸ਼ਲੋਕਾਂ ਰੰਗ ਹਕੀਕੀ ਲਾਇਆ ਏ, ਬੇੜੀ ਕੰਡੇ ਲਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਪਤਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਢੋਲੇ ਮਾਈਏ ਟੱਪੇ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣੇ, ਢੋਲੇ ਮਾਈਏ ਟੱਪੇ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣੇ, ਛੰਦ ਡਿਓਡਾਂ ਕਾਫੀਆਂ ਗਲ ਦਾ ਹਾਰ ਬਣੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਜੰਗ ਨਾਮੇ ਤੇ ਗੰਢਾਂ ਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਘੋੜੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਸੁਹਾਗ ਵੀ ਇਸਦੇ ਗਹਿਣੇ ਨੇ, ਬੋਲੀਆਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਪੈਰ ਥਿੜਕਦੇ ਰਹਿਣੇ ਨੇ, ਸੇਰੇ ਸਿੱਠਣੀਆਂ ਗੀਤਾਂ ਗੁਲਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਢਾਡੀਆਂ ਕਵੀਆਂ ਭਾਗ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਏ ਨੇ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਤਰਾਨੇ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਦੇ ਗਾਏ ਨੇ, ਗੌਣ ਕਵੀਸ਼ਰ ਛੰਦ ਛੇੜੀਆਂ ਤਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਆਈਆਂ ਕਈ ਭਾਵੀਆਂ ਝੱਖੜ ਚੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ, ਆਈਆਂ ਕਈ ਭਾਵੀਆਂ ਝੱਖੜ ਚੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ, ਐ ਪਰ ਜਿਉਂਦੇ ਵਾਰਿਸ ਪੀਲੂ ਬੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ, ਐ ਪਰ ਜਿਉਂਦੇ ਵਾਰਿਸ ਪੀਲੂ ਬੁੱਲੇ ਨੇ, ਬਾਬੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਜੈ ਉੱਚੇ ਕਿਰਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਰਹੂ ਜਿਉਂਦੀ ਸਦਾ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਾਣੀ ਏ, ਰਹੂ ਜਿਉਂਦੀ ਸਦਾ ਦਿਲਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਾਣੀ ਏ, ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਵਰਸਾਈ ਹੈ ਪਟਰਾਣੀ ਏ, ਧੜਕਣ ਪੰਜਾਬਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਧਰਮਾਂ ਤਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਰਿਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਮੁਨੀਆਂ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ ਦਿਲਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੀ। Thank you so much everyone.
That was so nice. That was so nice. I loved how your voice was resonating. So I don't know if that's a factor of technology or whether it was the quality of your voice, but it had this beautiful resonating quality. It was just so nice. And in many of these pieces, it's so one of the intuitive things that happens is you remember the landscape of these places and how the landscape in turn sort of informs a certain mood and a certain way of looking at the world. It's a bit of a generalization based on just one piece, but I sort of felt that way. Thank you so much, Dr. Sardul Singh. And one word to Dr. Sukhdev Singh, who's not here right now, but I'm so grateful that he introduced you to us, both of you, Ujjal and Dr. Sardul Singh. So this was so nice, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. After this, we move to a language about which I know relatively little. I have heard almost nothing. This is the language of Dogri from Jammu. And Dr. Sudhir Singh is here to introduce Dogri and a piece from Dogri. To my infinite discredit, I have not heard the language or any of its poetry. Today I looked it up to sort of inform myself a bit more. And it is quite a thriving tradition of poetry. So Dr. Sudhir Singh, are you here? Okay, so it might.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
are you here? Go on. Sorry.
Am
Yes,
I audible?
audible, yes.
And visible also, I think.
Not yet, but audible is a good start.
Am I visible?
Now visible,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Namaskar. And my greetings to all of you on this International Mother Language Day. This is Dr. Sudhir Singh from Intach Jammu chapter, joined by Dr. Neena Vij, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, and Minerva Singh, with our deepest tributes to all those legions of Dogri language and literature who have struggled very hard to secure an identity for Dogri language and got it recognized in the 8th schedule of Indian Constitution and recently as one of the official languages of the UT of JNK. Dear all participants, greetings from the Dugar land of Ma Vaishno Devi, from the land of sapphire and saffron, a land valorized by the great heroes like General Zorawar Singh and Brigadier Rajinder Singh, a land whose language has been eternalized by scholars like Dinu Bhai Pant and Padma Shri Padma Sajdev. Friends, Dogri language is primarily spoken in Jammu and Kashmir, but in the adjoining areas of Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, across the LOC in Sialkot, Shakargarh tehsils, which are presently in Pakistan, and it belongs to the modern Indo-Aryan language group of the Indo-Aryan language family. Its earliest reference we find in earlier 14th century in Nu Sifir, a manasvi written by Amir Khusro, and it has its own script named Takri, and its alphabets are known as Dogri Akhar. This has remained the official language of Jammu and Kashmir state during the regime of Maharaja Ranveer Singh in 19th century. But now Devanagari script is mainly used in India and Nastaliq form of Perso-Arabic in Pakistan for Dogri. Now, it's very heartening to see that the younger generation is coming closer to Dogri because of all these social media promotions. Before proceeding ahead, I am reminded of a small primer rhyme which is used traditionally to introduce the new learners to the matras. And this is known as Ganmat. And I would like to recite that small rhyme. I mean, only one small part of that rhyme here. This is how the matras are introduced. This says, Ka mukta ka kanna, ki syari ki biari, ku okkad ku dalakkad, ke lama ka dalama, ko oda ko kanoda, ka bindi ka vasarga. And this is how it goes on with all the Vyanjanas. The poem that I have chosen today for this occasion is written by a very young poetess, but very effective. And the reason for choosing this poem is the kind of diction that she chooses, because nowadays I feel all the languages are going through this crisis, which is posed by the westernization, English or other languages. So Dogri is also facing that, and mostly I find these poets and writers, they are either switching towards Hindi or Urdu to find the words and to make it more and more popular, as happened in with this language in the past also, because Devanagari was opted for making it more popular. So this poetess actually uses a wonderful diction, and since the participants over here are from various languages, and they would not be able to understand the words like when the poetess says chasde, tukde, thatelande, I mean things like that. So I hope my translation is there and they will be able to get the flavor of the poem. It's not primarily for its thematic concern, which is, of course, it takes a feminist stance, and the condition of women is presented over here through the image of a vulture. So actually, she has written two vulture poems, and the first one is where she compares men to vultures because they have been doing such things with women which are like vultures do with the dead bodies. But then she finds that vultures retaliate and they retort because she finds one vulture in her dream. She says in the next poem, The Vulture Retorts, where the vulture comes in the dream and registers his objection for being compared to a man who the vulture thinks is low in status than vulture. So it's very effective, and the kind of fiction that she uses is very, very emphatic and very effective. I read the poem. The first is tus illad nahiyo, tus illad nahiyo na girja mariya, o khande न मोड़ देंगी ये काम में उंदा. तुस इलड़ नहीं हो ना गिरजा मरियाइयां ओ खंदे न मुड़ देंगी एक काम में उंदा. सोबदा उन्हें की ते जचदा भी है, सोबदा उन्हें की ते जचदा भी है. अब तुस ते इलड़ नहीं हो ओ खंदे न मुंगे ने तुस अखी ने चस दे, ओ खंदे न मुंगे ने तुस अखी ने चस दे, फोटुए ने टुक दे ओ बनाए दे न मुड़दे लेई तुस जींदे की खंदे. ਉਹ ਬਣਾਏ ਦੇ ਮੁਰਦਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਖੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਠੱਠੇ ਵੀ ਲਾਂਦੇ ਤੇ ਮਾਰੀ ਮਕਾਂਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਸ਼ਰਮਾਂਦੇ. ਤੁਸ ਇਲੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਹੋ ਸਾਰੇ. I shift to the another poem where the vulture retorts. ਰਾਤੀ ਸੁਪਨੇ ਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਇਲੜ ਇੱਕ ਆਇਆ, ਰੋਏ ਪੁੱਛਣ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਹੀਂ. ਸੁਣ ਰੇਖਾ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਸੁਣ ਰੇਖਾ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਚੰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ, ਆਪਣੀ ਬਿਗੜੀ ਦੀ ਕੌਮਾਂਗੀ ਨਾ ਇਲੜੇ ਦਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ. सुन रेखा तू चंगा नहीं किता, अपनी बिगड़ी दी कौमा की ना इलड़े दा दिता. अज खड़ा तू की असें कटघरे च करना, झूठी इस बदी की कदें सहन नहीं करना. दस साड़ी केड़ी सीता की समाना धरती च पिया, केड़ी द्रौपदी दा चीर साड़ा अरन कदें हुआ. दस केड़ी दामनी साड़े तड़पदी मोई, केड़ी धी साड़ी दाजे ली फकोई, केड़ी नार साड़ी तते गारें पर खोई, ते केड़ी भराएं च बडोई. अपने लोकें दी मकारीगी ना की तू इलड़ दिता, अपने लोकें दी मकारीगी ना की तू इलड़ दिता. सुन रेखा तू ये चंगा नहीं किता, अस इलड़ बेशक्कां पर कदें कहलात्मा नहीं करदे. जिन्ना सौंपिया कम मालक है बादू जरा नहीं करदे. उड़ने उच्चे शमाना च अपनी नारियां कन्नै कदें कुसे गल्ला भेदभाव नहीं करदे. अस इलड़ां पर कदें अपनी कौमा गी नहीं बंडिया, ना कदें होई बेख्या से तुस अजन्मे गी दबिया. तुस इंसान होइयै कतल इंसानियत दा करने, छपैलने की करतूतां कालियां ना इलड़े ना करने. नजीबे पखरू बशक्कां पर बेगैरत अस नहीं, देइयै धोखे कुसे गी परने कुल्ली कदें अस नहीं. साड़ी गैरत गी अज तू ललकारी दिता, साड़ी गैरत गी अज तू ललकारी दिता. सुन भोलिए रेखा तू ये चंगा नहीं किता, तू ये चंगा नहीं किता. I hope you could see the translation, and this is what the young poets are doing, because it's very important since we are very newly recognized. So it's very important that we build up good literature and we serve the society through this language. On this day, my greetings to you all.
I think everybody who's listening would only wish well for Dogri to grow, flourish, for more literature that addresses the changing world to happen. Is this a poet who's still alive, or is it?
Yes, she's very young, and yeah, and she's been writing very, very emphatically. She's writing. Yes.
What is the word for a vulture?
Illad.
Illad. Okay. This was such an experience because I've never heard Dogri even spoken, leave alone poetry. So this is such a great, and I love
I wish in future we can have some dedicated program on each of the languages because
I
it was
think
so
so. I
wonderful.
think so. Because 13 is such an injustice to the diversity that we have.
You can initiate a series of such
I think
programs.
we should do it, and I think all of us should do it. And this is the power of Intach, because there's so many other languages of which we have speakers. So if this works and it's a nice experience, I'm sure that those things will happen. But I very much admire the sort of vim and vigor with which you spoke about the language and its identity. And that is, I think, the essence of this event. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And hope to hear more pieces of poetry in future. Thank you so much, Dr. Subir. And a word to your colleagues in the Jammu chapter, who are also, I know, helping you out while we only saw you. So thank you so much, all of you, for making this happen. Because you did it in short notice, so thank you so much. So after Dogri, we move on to the Delhi chapter, where Swapna Little is going to present a piece of Urdu poetry. Swapna, are you here?
Shukriya, Arun. Can you hear me? Yes,
Yes,
I think
yes,
you can.
nice. Very good.
Adab, everyone. I'm going to read an extract from an Urdu poem that was first recited in 1874 by Altaf Hussain Hali, the poet, literary critic, and teacher. I'm not going to talk about the language because I think people can find out easily elsewhere. This poem by Hali is a lament for the city of Delhi and the moorings of Urdu literary culture in its soil, which were destroyed when the revolt of 1857 was crushed by the British government. Now, Delhi has been destroyed several times. It has risen again like a phoenix. On the other hand, many will assert that Urdu, the language with deep roots in Delhi, has been and commonly used in large parts of India, has long been in irreversible decline in its motherland. But I, like many others, have hope that it too can rise. And that is the reason why tonight I have chosen to recite this poem myself, instead of inviting a more accomplished voice. I am what you would call a Nausicaa, but it is my way of affirming my own commitment to the language, which is one of the official languages of Delhi, and which was used by my own forebears, but which I rediscovered only as an adult. So here is a bit of an extract from this poem called the Noha-e Dehli. It says, Tazkira Dehli-e marhoom ka e dost na chhed, na suna jayega humse ye fasana hargiz. Dastan gul ki khisa mein na sunaye bulbul, haste haste hame zalim na rulana hargiz. ढूंढता है दिले शोरीदा बहाने मुतरिब दर्द अंगेज गजल कोई ना गाना हरगिज सोहबतें अगली मुसव्विर हमें याद आएंगी कोई दिलचस्प मुरक्का ना दिखाना हरगिज लेके दाग आएगा सीने पे बहुत ए सयाह देख इस शहर के खंडरों में ना जाना हरगिज चप्पा चप्पा पे हैं यहाँ गौहर यकता तहे खाक दफन होगा ना कहीं इतना खजाना हरगिज मिट गए तेरे मिटाने के निशान भी अब तो ए फलक इससे ज्यादा ना मिटाना हरगिज वो तो भूल गए थे हमें हम भी उन्हें भूल गए ऐसा बदला है ना बदलेगा जमाना हरगिज जिसको जख्मों से हफादिस के अछूता समझें नजर आता नहीं एक ऐसा घराना हरगिज कभी ए इल्म हुनर घर था तुम्हारा दिल्ली हमको भूले हो तो घर भूल न जाना हरगिज रात आखिर हुई और बज़्म हुई ज़ेरो ज़बर अब ना देखोगे कभी लुत्फ़े शबाना हरगिज बज़्म मातम तो नहीं बज़्म सुखन है हाली यहाँ मुनासिब नहीं रो रो के रुलाना हरगिज शुक्रिया
Thank you so much, Swapna. I've always in such thrall of you. I've attended your walks and so many of your sessions, and always staggered by your scholarship and the effortless way in which you presented. And this was just one more experience of that. Thank you so much. I don't pretend to understand Urdu as well as most people probably in this group, but the bits that I understood were very powerful, and they brought out the nostalgia of that condition you described. Thank you so much. You know, I'm going to just ask all of you to indulge me. So after this, we have the last presentation in Hindi, which will be done by the Varanasi chapter. But before that, I'm going to request the indulgence of all of you, especially Ashok and Anuradha, to allow Akshita to make a 1-minute presentation of her Sindhi poem. I think it's okay if we're off by 1 minute. So I think we can all afford 1 minute to hear a language which we don't hear often. So Akshita, are you still here? Would you mind that, Anuradha?
No.
Yes, sir.
So go for it, Akshita, but you must keep it short.
Okay, sir. Sir, actually, I'm operating with a phone, so the audio might not be
No
audible.
problem, no problem.
Okay, sir.
I think you need to unmute your voice. You were, like, we could hear you earlier, but not now. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, so sir, I'll start then. Greetings, everyone. Today, I, Akshita Tejwani of class 9th from Maharani Gayatri Devi Girls School, Jaipur, will be presenting a song in my mother language, Sindhi. I'll begin now. Sindhi abani boli, mithni abani boli, Sindhi abani boli, mithni abani boli, teh khema kiya visarya, jind jaan teh tawarya, jeh medni amukhi, pinghe me mauloli, Sindhi abani boli, mithni abani boli, प्रेम भाव एके सार हिंदा जग में, मेहनत जा भाव भरल जन जे रग रग में, सभिनी सा प्रेम वधाइंदा, कुछ डींदा ए कुछ पाइंदा, सभिनी सा प्रेम वधाइंदा, कुछ डींदा ए कुछ पाइंदा, संसार में ज्योत जगाइण वारा सिंधी, ए खाक के सोन बनाइण वारा सिंधी, आंधिया में ज्योति जगाइण वारा सिंधी, आंधिया में ज्योति जगाइण वारा सिंधी, ए खाक के सोन बनाइण वारा सिंधी, आंधिया में ज्योति जगाइण वारा सिंधी, हो जेको खट्टी आयो खैर सा, हो जमालो. Thank you.
Akshita, hang on, don't go away. Tell us a bit about the poem. What was it about?
Yes, sir. So, sir, the summary of the song was that Sindhi is a very melodious, sweet language. And by this song, I meant that Tehke Ma Ki Visarya, that how can I forget it? Like, I've learned it from my birth. It's in my veins. It's in my nerves. And it seems like my mother had sung lullabies in Sindhi. So I learned Sindhi. It's such a melodious and sweet language. So ma'am, by the second song, I meant that Sindhi people, the Sindhi community never gives up. The Sindhi people always work hard, and that Oje ko khatti ayo khair sa, that the one who has won everyone's heart with love, affection, and everything. So basically,
I think you muted yourself.
yes, sir, I'm done with the speaking.
So tell me, did you prepare this and attend the event, or did you have it in your head?
Yes, sir. Last year, sir, I prepared for a presentation on Republic Day. So they had this theme that you need to present any song in your mother tongue, presenting the patriotism for your own language. So I also won award in that for the best song. So I decided to present this in today's meeting.
You must do it more often. You're very gifted. And you know what? You just saved us from bad luck, because we were stuck with 13 and they say 13 is bad luck. So you just came in out of nowhere and saved us. So if good things happen to people listening to this, we have Akshita to thank. So thank you so
Thank you,
much,
sir.
Akshita. You sang very beautifully and it was great. Thank you so much. And hope to see you again for things like this, should they happen again.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Most welcome. And now, last but not least, we are going to have a presentation from the language that is spoken by the most number of people in our country, Hindi. I'm going to request Ashok Kapoorji of the Varanasi chapter to set it up and Anuradha to recite it. Over to you, Ashok Kapoor. Are you here? Anuradha, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Am I audible?
You're audible, and I think now Mr. Kapoor is also audible. I think he's in traffic. That's very modern poetry. So I think he's not been able to get to wherever he hoped to be to attend this. So, oh, you're here. So are you in a place to talk now?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You and a few hundred cars.
Ashok Kapoor, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes. Sir,
Yes,
if it's not a convenient place, then maybe Anuradha can do the introduction also.
I request to Ashokji, please do not bother.
So I think we'll mute from our end, and I'll talk to him later. I think he's not been able to get that.
Okay.
So go on. What are you going to present?
Should I send him a message?
No, we'll mute him from our end.
Okay.
You can prepare to present.
Okay. So am I audible?
Very well.
Okay. And my Tanpura is not too loud, right?
Seems fine.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, namaskar. My apologies on behalf of our convener. He has some family obligations, so that's why I think he could not reach home on time. So, myself, Anuradha Raturi, and I am representing Hindi. So everyone knows about Hindi. So many people speak Hindi, but I would like to say a few words about Hindi literature. So when we talk about Hindi literature, there are two types. One is Khadi Boli Hindi, which is kind of modern, and the other one is which comprises of Braj, Awadhi, Maithili, Bundelkhandi, Rajasthani, Parsi, Urdu, all other languages, regional languages that are spoken in North India. I have chosen the piece which is in Khadi Boli Hindi, and let me remind all of you that all these regional languages are very rich in literature, and there should be more participants representing all of these beautiful languages. So now let me tell you about my piece. This is a piece, very famous piece, written by Pandit Jai Shankar Prasad, who was born here in Varanasi. Pandit Jai Shankar Prasad, one of the most eminent figures of Hindi literature, is a proponent of Chayavad movement, which incorporates romanticism, mysticism, and humanism. The Epic Kamayami, often interpreted as a philosophic allegory of life, is one of the greatest works of contemporary Hindi literature. The epic comprises of 15 cantos, each canto representing an emotion often personified, experienced by Manu after the great deluge. The epic opens with the protagonist Manu brooding over the void left by the deluge. Manu's emotions unfold with the sequential narrative and moves from angst to bliss, with a plethora of other emotions in between. I have chosen this mellifluous poetry to highlight the cultural milieu in the contextual interpretations with reference to Vedic element, the Kashmir Shaivism, and the mysticism. Except literary excellence, another reason for this choice is the protagonist's opening contemplation on darkness, light, illusion, reality, death, and immortality. So now, without any further delay, I will recite the first few lines of the Epic Kamayami. हिमगिरि के तुंग शिखर पर बैठ शिला की शीतल छाह एक पुरुष भीगे नयनों से देख रहा था प्रलय प्रवाह नीचे जल था ऊपर हिम था एक तरल था एक सघन एक तत्व की ही प्रधानता कहो उसे जड़ या चेतन दूर दूर तक विस्तृत था हिम स्तब्ध उसी के हृदय समान सी शिला चरण से टकराता फिरता पवमान तरुण तपस्वी सावह बैठा साधन करता सुर शमशान नीचे प्रलय सिंधु लहरों का होता था सकरुण अवसान उसी तपस्वी से लंबे थे देवदारु दो चार खड़े हुए हिमधवल जैसे पत्थर बनकर ठिठुरे रहे अड़े अवयव की दृढ़ मांसपेशियां ऊर्जस्वित था वीर्य अपार स्फीत शिराएं स्वस्थ रक्त का होता था जिनमें संचार चिंता कातर वदन हो रहा पौरुष जिसमें ओत उधर उपेक्षामय यौवन का बहता भीतर मधुमय स्रोत बंधी महागत से नौका थी सूखे में अब पड़ी रही उतर चला था वह जल प्लावन और निकलने लगी मही, निकल रही थी मर्म वेदना, करुणा विकल कहानी सी, वहाँ अकेली प्रकृति सुन रही, हंसती सी पहचानी सी, हंसती सी पहचानी सी, हंसती सी पहचानी सी. Thank you, and my apologies, I have not been well.
If
Since
this is
past
how
few
you
days,
sing when
that's
you're
why.
not well, I'm staggered at how you would sing if you're well. Thank you so much, Anuradha.
धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, नमस्कार.
Thank you. And Anuradha, I'd just like to point out to the group that you're also a speaker of many other languages. This is not even your first, this is not your first language. You're a speaker of Gadwali and you also speak 3 other languages, is that right? And one of them is, you're also very sort of comfortable in Sanskrit.
Yes, yes. I love Sanskrit and I'm very fluent in Sanskrit. I can also speak Bhojpuri as I live in Varanasi. And I study literature extensively. So that's why Braj Avadhi.
It's a privilege to have you here. Thank you so much. And I do hope that we get the
Thank you so
opportunity
much.
to hear you when your voice is at its peak. You know, I just, there was this very nice remark that somebody just said, Sushila Natraj said, Zoom Zindabad. So I totally agree with you because Zoom Zindabad, otherwise we wouldn't have had this opportunity. So like in whatever, we are a little over time, but we got the opportunity to hear so many different points of view, so many sounds, so many textures, so many ways of looking at the world. All of that thanks to Zoom. But that's just an enabling thing. The main reason is that we are such a great organization and we have so many gifted. We've just gotten a glimpse of the kind of people who are part of our family. So I really feel that more of these things should happen. We should do so many other things. And I think I keep having this critique that we tend to be too chapter focused, and I'm speaking to the Intach members in the group. So I think we need to look outside the chapter and work to make things like this happen more frequently. But at this point, I feel I shouldn't talk too much and ruin that nice afterglow of all these presentations. I just would like to take a minute to thank all these people who came together to make this possible. We just had about a week to make this happen, and everybody had many other commitments. So in that short time, all of these people came together, generously helped, gave time to do a little dry run, put up with my slightly eccentric ways in doing these things. So I can't tell you how grateful I am for sort of helping bring this alive. It's been such a great pleasure to work as a team. And also thank you everyone who's logged in, because I see many people from many places and the surnames give a hint to people from all over. And it's such a thrill to see, a sense of India in this tiny little event. So I thank all of you for coming. Thank everybody in the team for making this happen. And if you have other ideas, in Palakkad, we are always willing to sort of throw in our hat to do things like this. So reach out to us. But this has been a great experience. So thank you so much. And once again, underlining the importance, all of this diversity we saw is the ideal of this observance. The fact that each language, each point of view that we heard, each of it has its place in the world. And that is the reason we're here today. So just emphasizing that one more time. And thank you so much again, everybody.
Let's unmute and applaud the hero of this evening.
We can unmute and do a picture. Let's do a group picture.
Yes.
Videos.
Let's do it.
मस्त कार्यक्रम झाला छान आहे
well done, all of you.
And I
Congratulations.
think Arunji needs a special chair from all of us.
Good. आणि कपडे बदलायचे
We're not able to start
so
our video.
Could we? I think you need to go to gallery view, ma'am. That's how you'll get all that whole tiled view. So above your picture, the video, there'll be a tiny picture with a cluster of squares. So if you hit that, you'll get that.
It says
Arunji, you will
host
have
is
to
not
allow our
allowed.
video. Our video has to be allowed from you.
Yeah, it's being allowed. Just give one minute, please.
Sure.
So now are you able to do it? Hey, Vinod.
Anuradha, are you done?
Yeah. Are you able to bring your video on?
No, I can't. Congratulations, Arun.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to you for this wonderful excellent program, Arun. Congratulations to everyone who have contributed.
Thank you, sir.
We should be proud of our languages. Languages are the treasure of cultural heritage. It's really a very great event. It was enjoyable. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Arun, and thank you, Sukhdev sir, for introducing me to this program. It was really very beautiful. I mean, I could not understand number of languages, but the beauty of listening to them was just very great. I mean,
But even with languages we don't understand fully, there'll be a word, there'll be a little bit of a doorway that's open that helps you guess at the meaning. So that is also beautiful.
The music of that language, I mean, musicality in the language, I could feel it was very beautiful, and I do feel it's a very important work that you people are doing here. I mean, promoting the heritage and the languages. I realized today that how important it is to preserve these languages, and what a loss it would be if we lose these
one of them.
cultural heritage.
It happens all the time. There are so many languages that are dying as we speak. So it's not a theoretical notion. So we
So
lose
can I?
all. Sorry.
So can I?
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so
Yes, sir. Namaste. This is Deepa here from GIS Whitefield. Very nice and great program, sir. I
Thank you,
really
ma'am.
enjoyed, and we learned so much language history and importance of language. It was wonderful program, sir.
And Deepthi
I
did
felt
a
so
great
happy.
job. She in just
Yes,
a few
sir.
hours she did a great job. Please
Yes, the
congratulate.
very last few minutes she joined and she prepared herself, sir.
That's what. And she did it
in
with such
Assam language.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
It was so good to listen to Swapna Little in Urdu language. You know, it was a beautiful poem by Hali. I enjoyed it so well. Thank you so much. And I could see you in a very different face.
Thank you so much.
I think that group picture is not now.
Great
It's happening.
effort, Arun, and the Palakkad branch of Intach to come up with such a nice show, well coordinated, organized, answering every question, every message of everybody in the group. Great job. Congratulations.
Pleasure, sir. Pleasure, sir. I hope to do more of it.
Thank you. Thank you. It was very good fun. And really, I enjoyed, I mean, so many languages. It was so marvelous.
I was actually
So
wondering.
let's keep jamming. Let's come up with other ideas. So
Yes.
just like, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
Like some of the best people are Intach members. So let's find many other things to do.
Sure.
And I think this message of how important our mother tongue is should go right down to our children and our grandchildren. Make an effort to speak it at home, no matter what the temptation is to shift to any other language, because this is the only place they'll keep in touch with their roots.
Correct, correct.
Great message.
Oh, it's a beautiful, super initiative, Arun. I mean, when I joined, I was wondering whether I'll understand any of it, but then I did each and every part of the program. It was lovely. Look forward to more such sessions.
Same here.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much.
I have written in the chat box, but I personally would like to thank you, Arun, and your team. I know that this has been a great team effort. Of course, you are the lead, but nothing
Actual work is done by other people. You're right.
Without the help.
I'm going to call two of those people to come here.
Yes.
I'm going to call Sanusha and Prashant to come.
And I think that along your team deserves a huge round of applause from all
I think
of us.
all of us do. All of us do. That's Sanusha. That's Prashant. They have been running the back end of the session. So
Wonderful coordination, absolute tremendous organizational skill. As I
now you're embarrassing us.
yeah.
Enough.
And it's been unfair if the team is not acknowledged. So I mean,
I'd also like to point out Jairam, who's done a lot of work in a very quiet way. So all of those people have helped it, and more than that, you people have been patient. 1 week back, we didn't know each other, and now I feel like we're parting as friends. So that's wonderful, and that wouldn't have happened but for your attitude. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's also great posters, and I'm very touched by the way things carried out, and I'm thankful because maybe after 20 years I recited in front of gatherings. Thank you.
And you did a very good job of it. So I think on that note, I think we'll probably wind down. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.